Well, how appropriate. Here we are in week 22, and this is our final yellow third chakra fable. And this week, our final week in the third chakra, is the abundance fable, the fable of abundance, which is actually the fable of gold coins. That's the original name. And you can see the gold coins in the trunk. And they actually are going to be talking about the two people on this card, the imagery. And you'll notice that once again, I am using the Taiwanese deck, still the Chinese deck, and you'll notice that the characters are on here. And I just think it's so cool. I love playing with the different language decks because I think each deck, even though it's the same deck, it has a very different energy. So I enjoy that. So now that you're looking at that, the thing that begins to happen when we look at abundance is I think it's such an overused term, because when you really think about the term abundance, and this is something that, you know how there's certain buzzwords in your life that you go, I don't know if there's a word you don't like or that kind of makes you go, abundance is one of mine, because I feel like it's a catchphrase. It's a, I want to experience abundance. And I'm like, how would you know? And they're like, what do you mean? I go, well, at what point are you abundant? And they're like, I don't understand. So is abundance paying your bills? No, of course not. Is abundance having $5,000 extra at the end of every month? Well, yeah. Is $1 million in the bank abundance? Yeah. So thing is that when I say certain things to you, when I say what is abundance to you, it's not just what you think of as abundance, but remember we talked about the third chakra as being related to the verb. So when we look at abundance as an action, as opposed to just something we're going to get or something we create, it's a feeling of living in that joy. It's about living. Remember when we were at the joy card, when our joy fable, when Dance and Daisy, when I said to you, are you living in joy or are you giving it away? And then we look at the prior card, which was facade, and we look at the idea of, but the fable was bronze god, and how he had to be a god in his life. So when we look at this and we look at how the coins themselves, the actual objects of abundance, are having a conversation about the way they are treated by the humans in the story. I don't know if you could see clearly how the girl has, she's pulling a coin up from the storm drain, and the man has drank too much and he has wasted his money away. And these are extreme examples, obviously, but the idea is that one person is using money wisely, the other person maybe not using it as wisely, or more importantly, to their greater good. When when we use money to benefit ourselves and others. For example, if you look at the girl in here, she's actually saving her money and she's going to buy her house. She's going to buy a house. When she buys the house, she puts a lot of people in business. She's going to need a lot of people to help her in her new home. So we start looking at how it's not just having abundance, it's being able to share abundance and being able to be a part of it. That's why I think when I talk about this, and you all have heard me say this isn't a big thing. I feel that sometimes we really need to look at being able to show one another how to live in that state, rather than thinking it's something we're going to get as a restitution or as a payback. Because one of the things I've noticed is you never get enough money when it has come, that's the term, ill-gotten gains, because they're gotten from an illness or something that's not legitimate. Like a bank robbery, people who steal money. Even when we look at felons and people who have committed crimes, and I'm using people who move drugs and things like that as an example, they often are ready to, at any moment, die. They're giving up their freedom for the abundance of the overabundance of money and riches, but they don't have that internal freedom to just go about their lives because they need so much protection because they're in fear of losing their life. And if you remember what I said in some of the earlier videos when I talked about the greatest fears in life are losing what we have or not getting what we want. So when we look at those two ideas, we can really look here at, in the abundance card, losing what we have or not getting what we want. And we can look at that all being here because he's in the fear. He's afraid of losing what he has. And here, he's not getting what he wants. And then we look over here and she's just doing it. She's in it. And when we look at that idea of people being in that process, we're in a very different place. We're now in a place of experiencing the doingness rather than the idea of the fear or faith, right? Because either the losing what we have or not getting what we want, we're in that fear cycle. But faith means we're just living it. We're doing what we need to do to create something that we know will make us happy. Now, so when I say abundance, it's not just about money. And I think that the other important thing about this particular fable is that it really is about the way we choose to be in the world. Are we going to be someone that is not really wanting to look at how we are being wasteful with our lives? Or are we someone that is going to go to the ends of the earth to get that, if you will, get that gold coin, get that piece of gold and what it's going to mean to you? And remember, there's a definition of that, right? There's a definition that we've talked about of like, it's what matters to you. It's what you make meaning of that's going to be the difference between getting what you want because you've made meaning of it or not getting what you want because you've made it mean something. And I want to say this to you. I know that may sound confusing, but get this. If you don't have a visual or a written outcome, an idea very set of what you're looking to create, you could, in fact, as my father used to say, you could in fact overrun the drop zone, go way past you where you were supposed to be and never know it. And I've seen this happen a lot when people are healing family wounding. They've already healed it, but they don't know how to recognize the healing, and rather they go in circles rather than get that they've already healed the issue. And that's very important for all of us to understand. And it really is something that if you follow this journey, you'll start to see nuances and be able to put things together much more succinctly along the road. So let's take a look at the gold coins themselves. Say, I only seek to give you what you ask for. So what does that mean? You're asking for something. But do you know what you're really asking for? And the way to know what you're asking for is to look around your life. What have you created? You know, like just as an example, this little area I'm seated in right now, it's an L-shaped bench that I had built in. This actually opens up, and this opens up like an old desk, and I have shelving in here. And it's very comfortable. I love sitting here. This is my dining area, and I created it because I had a vision of it. And I knew that I would be happy. I would feel when I got what I wanted, when I got what I asked for, I'd be like, yeah, this is my place to write and be my studio, if you will. This is where I shoot my videos. So when I say this to you and you look at that, are you clear so that when it happens, when it shows up, you will know what it looks like? Because a lot of times we kind of go, oh, I just want a dining room table, without really, what is it that you're looking to create with that dining room table? What energy are you looking to create? And the more specifically we can hone in on it, the more likely we are to get it. Because we can then see it. Because a lot of times you'll drive right by it and never see it. You know, sometimes also, and I'm going to say this, that sometimes we don't know it was important to us until we walk away from it and we go, wow, that was a really important time in my life. And you know, a lot of my life has been this journey of self-discovery and working on myself. And so when I look at the card of abundance, for me, my definition, remember I said to you, what you make meaning of is what matters, not what I tell you, not what anybody else tells you. Don't trust me, trust you. So what you make meaning of matters to you. And for me, abundance today means peace. It means that I can sit in what I've created here in this little section of my home and love it. I feel a lot of peace sitting here. I absolutely love this space. And that's what I'm trying to say. That's abundant to me. So for you, what is it that strikes the abundance chord that matters to you? And I'd like you to, in the notes below, in the comments section below, I'm just going to shift this. In the comments section below, I'm going to ask you to go ahead and write in what that means to you. You know, what is abundance to you? What's your definition? And really look at your definition of it as, is it something that you know you'll never create? Or is it something that you go, wow, I can create this? You know, I had a friend who was like, I want to have a private jet. And this is somebody that was working a small job. And I said, is that really what you want? And she said, well, yeah, I want to have a private jet. And I said, okay, but here's the deal with the private jet. You know, if you never get it, can you feel abundant? And she went, oh. She said, I don't think so. And I said, then why set yourself up to fail? You know, if I waited till I was queen of the earth, I might have a bit of a wait. So when I say that to you, set yourself up for success. And that's what this book is about. That's what the third chakra in essence is about. You know, when we look at as this final fable in the third chakra, it's very important that you get that the first, second, and third chakra really is almost like the 12 steps in terms of the first 3 steps. I can't, he can, I think I'll let him. And that's kind of the abbreviation of surrendering to, we have to create that foundation. We have to really get that we can't do that alone. We have to really do that in unity with ourselves and the universe. Then we look at the second chakra of emotions and how are our emotions being driven from our foundation. And finally, our third chakra, our thought process and our intuitive process that we take. So, intuitive, but instinctual, fight or flight. And all 3 of those chakra are really about earthly matters. When we begin the 4th chakra next week, and actually next week we're going to do a recap, which is really a fun week. But when we begin the 4th chakra, I want you to notice that that is the first place that real spirituality enters, and we are at the top of the mountain. So if you can imagine in the autumn, the fall, and you're standing at the top of the mountain, and it's still green here because it's closer to the sun. But when you look over, it's red, orange, and yellow, and the fall leaves are reminding us where we've come from. So I want you to really take this time to say, what has this meant to me? And really take in, what does abundance mean to me? And really write that down just down below. So when we look at the message of the week, it is about your relationship with money and the emotion, the profound changes involved in creating true internal abundance. I think I talked about some of this, so I don't want to go through it. But the big thing is looking at your underlying thought process becomes an important aspect. It's really, one of the things also is that this particular fable is the only one directly related to financial ideas and financial beliefs. So there is finances in here. So one of the things you're going to find is that when you move on, and of course the first impressions are the gold coins in the fable each offer different perspectives on money. So one of the things I'm going to invite you to do is, can you see your perspective in here? What are you noticing about that? And then, you know, are you being wise with your money? Do you know how to handle money? And some of us do and some of us don't. I didn't know. I had to teach myself. But I do want to go back to this for 1 second. The intention for the week also becomes, what will I do with the money I create? Because sometimes people are like, I just need $500 just to pay my bills, or I just work to pay my lousy bills. Well, that's what you're going to get. So what I want to say to you is, and that's not bad, but what kind of cycle do you want to break or live into? And how would you like to live so that you experience internal abundance? And finally, in here, and once again, the glasses go on. Okay. The solo exercise is a very powerful exercise this week in terms of how you relate to money as well. It's a really great exercise. I want to tell you that particular exercise changed my relationship to money, changed everything with me on that. And I want to say to you that the group exercise is extremely powerful as well. And you can do that with a friend. It's a really great exercise to do. And of course, again, look at the color reflection, do the journal journey. You know, I'm only giving you a different perspective on it and giving you kind of a chat around it, but I really feel that the more you apply yourself to this, the more you'll get out of it. It really is like anything else. And remember also that it doesn't mean you failed if you didn't. It just means, oh, I read the Fable. That's all Tori told me I had to do. And you watched this video. So that's a lot. I am going to see you next week where we do our midpoint review, which becomes a very important, I would say, look back on where you've been. And that gives us a chance to really steer the ship or twist, you know, let our rudder change to see which direction we want to be going. And that said, I will see you all next week. And remember, post your comments below. I said a couple different things, so pick the thing that's standing out to you so you can post the comments related to that. And I'll see you next time.